Snow White spent another 2 hours cleaning the feast hall, ignoring the gnawing in her stomach as mealtime came and went. When she finished, she slipped out without waiting for her stepmother to inspect her work. The queen would always find fault with something. Better to leave and trust she had cleaned well enough to avoid punishment. Snow White still didn't understand why the queen disliked her so, only that the icy glares and edged comments while her father had been alive turned into full-fledged malice after he died. For a long time, Snow White had tried to puzzle it out, wondering if she'd done something to offend the queen. She'd done her best to be an obedient and dutiful stepdaughter, but nothing made a difference. She checked the position of the sun through the window. If she went to the kitchen now, the cooks might sneak her some bread, but she hated putting the servants at risk. Better if she found something to take her mind off her hunger. "How about an adventure?" she asked the birds. They tweeted with their approval. Snow White grabbed a dust rag so she'd have an excuse for wandering. If the queen had her way, Snow White's world would be narrowed to her room in the cellar, the kitchens, and any halls the queen had her clean. But whenever she had the chance, Snow White liked to explore the older sections of the castle. There, Snow White found artifacts of a happier time. Handkerchiefs, baubles, letters left behind by visitors long gone, portraits of the royal family that the queen hadn't yet removed. It was a risk, but these wanderings were one of the few things Snow White felt still belonged to her. Hardly anyone ever bothered her once she was in the old castle, but Snow White had to pass her stepmother's rooms in order to get there. As a precaution, she asked two of the castle mice to run ahead and play lookout. She stayed alert as she followed. "Snow White, come in." She froze. It was a strange voice that had spoken. Hollow sounding. Male. And otherworldly in a way Snow White couldn't explain. The voice came from a side corridor that led to her stepmother's bedchambers. Snow White did sometimes hear odd sounds when she mopped the hallway floors, rustling, ringing sounds, the occasional shriek. But Snow White had never heard anyone call out her name before. "Snow White, lovely maid, come in." Snow White gripped her dust rag and backed up against the wall. The mice circled back, rising inquisitively to their hunches. Snow White waved them away. Whatever this was, she did not want the animals near it. "Who are you?" She spoke into the empty air, softly enough that no one should have to be able to hear. Still, she suspected she would get a reply. "An observer, a reflector, an agent of truth." "Why do you keep calling me?" "Truth is hard to come by in the castle, yet I sense it in you. Come in, and we will talk further." Was someone playing a trick on her? Snow White wondered what kind of being would lure her into the queen's rooms. "I can't go in. It's locked." "You are mistaken. This door bears the same weakness as the ones you've discovered in the tower bedrooms." Those words sent a chill down Snow White's spine. Had this mysterious speaker seen her exploring the castle? Once, in the old wing, Snow White had leaned against a locked door while pushing down on the handle. To her surprise, it had given way. She hadn't thought much of it at the time, since those chambers were always empty. "The queen would punish me if I went into her rooms." "You can risk punishment now, or face far greater evils later. Dark days are coming for you, princess." Snow White wondered what those greater evils could possibly be. She was already a scullery maid without a father or a real mother. The queen punished her whenever it suited her mood. And yet, Snow White couldn't help feeling intrigued by the mysterious voice. She supposed she had little to lose. Taking a deep breath, Snow White slipped down the side corridor to the queen's bedchambers. A quarter turned on the doorknob until it caught, and then a push. The door creaked open, revealing a cavernous room with high ceilings. For a moment, Snow White stood at the doorway, taking it all in. On one side were a giant four-poster bed, dressers, and cabinets. On the other side was an alcove with stairs leading to an enormous wall mirror. There was no one inside. "Where are you?" she asked. "A wall holds me, but it does not limit me." A flash of movement caught her eye. Snow White glanced at the wall mirror and jumped back in horror at the face floating there. It looked like a mask one might wear to a ball, and it was illuminated with green light. As Snow White's pulse slowed, she crept closer. "Are you an enchanted mirror?" she asked in awe. "I am truth and honesty, the kernel of everything that is." She wondered if it must always speak in riddles. "I don't understand." "You are a princess of royal blood, the true heir to your father's throne. Your heart is pure and honest, but misfortune and danger stalk and seek you." "Misfortune and danger? My father is already dead. I am a scullery maid. What other misfortunes await me?" "There are those who mean you harm. You must protect yourself." "Who means me harm?" "Your stepmother is a great sorceress. You, too, can harness magic to do your bidding." Was the mirror refusing to tell her who wished her harm, or had it provided the answer? Then the other part of its message hit her. Harness magic? How? But the mirror did not answer, falling silent for the remainder of her visit.